Hello viewers, welcome back to Selenium WebDriver videos. Myself Uday. If you have any Selenium WebDriver queries, you can mail me at udayanam@gmail.com. For all Selenium WebDriver videos, you can watch my blog seleniumwebdrivervideos.blogspot.com. In this video, I would like to demonstrate about what is page object model or page object design pattern. So just let's dive in. I will be start with a small our same new tours example. This is a common way, general way of writing any script. We will be seeing what is page object model, how exactly which is benefit compared to any of the other approaches. So consider I'm just trying to log in this new tours. So first I need to launch the browser. For that I have these two statements, and once I launch my browser, after that I'm navigating to this URL and I'm just keeping some implicit weight, and after that I'm entering username as well. After that I'm entering password and I'm clicking on the login button. Once the login is done, I'm just quitting. I'm closing this Chrome browser. Okay, this is how general way that we are write our script. If you don't follow any any standard methodology, a standard approach, right? But this is a very bad practice to write a script like this. The reason being is if you take any automation approach, the ideal approach should be the script should be separate from the objects. So what does it mean is there is a clear separation between the actual test case script and the objects. The reason being is if there is any change in the object description or any object properties, it is very hard to go through each and every line of the script to identify the object and changing the properties. So let me start with an example. What I'm trying to say here is, for example, say you are using some object. Okay, so that object is there, say there might be, you might be having 50 or 100 different test cases. All right, so that object you might be used at maybe in a 5th line or a 10th line or a 100th line or a 1000 line. All right, the script will work as far as whatever the object that you have provided is existing, when you are identifying it and when you execute it, which will work fine. But consider a situation where the object property got changed. All right, so the object will be existing at any point of our script, right? So we don't know where that object is, and even the developer may not tell us what object got changed, and we will be came to know only when we execute that specific test case or test script, right? The object will be at any place. That could be a first line, that could be a 100th line, that could be a 1000 line, but we don't know until we execute the 999th line, and where we came to know that at the 1000th line the object got changed, and at that point of time we will get no such element exception. If the same object is existing in 25 or 50 scripts, we don't know until each of these 25 scripts are executed, and at some point of time if you find out no such element exception, where we need to analyze where we came to know that the object property got changed, right? So that way, if you write a script like this is very hard to maintain, right? Because see, as you can see, you are using the object identification within the script itself, right? So that is a very bad approach. So in order to, for example, say the object got exist in 25 or 50 scripts, where you need to go to each individual of these test scripts and need to update it. This is a very tedious job, and which is very less maintainable. That is not at all a good approach. Rather than that, if any object got changed, which needs to be updated in a single place rather than updating in the multiple places, that should be a good approach, right? So page object model will address that kind of problems, which makes us easy maintaining of our test scripts. So let's see what is page object model and how we will overcome this this kind of problems, right? So in order to do that, what I will do is first let me start with so for example, say in order to create this page object model, what we do is we will be separating the script as well as we will be separating the scripts from the actual object identification. So what does it mean is the actual test case or the test script will be written in one file, whereas the object identification we will keeping in a separate file. The page, why we call page object model is each page will represent one class where all the objects in that web page will be initialized, or its object identification will be we will keep that in a class. Okay, let's see how we will convert this into a page object model. So generally we will be creating for object identification, consider this as a login page. Okay, and we want to all objects, whatever the objects there in this page, we can keep them in that login page. All right, we will be separating the script in a separate file. All right, so first let me create object identification. We can create the object login page object identification or page object class here itself, but the better approach is just create a package called, you can say, page objects. All right, so in this page object, what I will do is I will create a class that represents this login page. Okay, so what I will do is I will create a class here called say login page. Okay, so in this page what I will do is all the object like initializations and everything we will do it in this class, and in our actual test class, say this class, what I will say is say work, or else we can say new tools. Okay, this is just an example, you can keep whatever the way that you want. Okay, just concentrate on what I'm doing it. So how we are working with page objects and all, I will explain you here now. Oh sorry, this new tools, actually this is a test case that you should not keep in this page object. You need to keep it in your actual test script, right? So where it is, oh sorry, okay, this is our new tools class. Okay, this is our login page page objects. So first we need to create a web element. I will be explaining each of these statements, just please stay tuned. Okay, static web element, say it is element. Okay, first what we will do is for each object we will be writing a separate method, and that method will return you whatever the object description is. Okay, so let's start with say public static, and this will return you a web element. Okay, let me include the proper libraries. Okay, and after that what I will say is say login underscore txt username, which will accept our web driver, actually whatever the driver that we are working on. All right, and we should basically return a element. Okay, just let me initialize this element driver dot, as you can see the same thing whatever we are using here, right? We can use the same thing here. And all right, so this method, what it will do is, why it is showing me again? Okay, so this method returns this web element. All right, like that, for each and every object, what we will do is we will create a method. This method represents what this method will do is, this represents a login username object. All right, so this one is login, say this is password, and the corresponding property for this is like password. Okay, and the next one is sign in button. So the method for it is, you can keep whatever the name that you want. All right, so the corresponding object is, this is the one. Okay, now when you invoke this method, what it will do is, which will represent, this will return your web element that points out to the username. All right, so and when you invoke this method, which represents an object which points to this password. All right, so now let's go to our main test case and we'll see how exactly we use that page objects here. All right, so these three statements are same. This is our actual test script. Here you can observe that I am not at all using any object identification properties in my test script. Rather, I am just referring to the objects, which object descriptions which I have written here. All right, so once I have my Chrome instance is started, I am navigating to this URL, and after that I need to enter the username. All right, for that what I need to do is, we need to just invoke the method which is existing in our page objects package. Okay, when I'm entering it, which will ask for the object. As you can see, once I'm just placing my cursor, which will show you all the objects, all the methods which are available in here. All right, so what I will do is, I want to first enter username. For that what I will do is, I will invoke this method with the same driver which I have created here, and then dot send keys. Okay, so I use the okay. In a similar way, if you want to find out any objects which is existing in this login page, once you just enter this login actual class name, which will show you all the methods. As you can see, I want to enter password now. This represents the actual password. So I invoke this method where I'm passing the same driver instance, and I'm entering the password as this, and afterwards I want to click on sign in button. For that what I will do is, I will just invoke this method, like click on sign in of driver and just click on this. All right, so by writing this way, the main advantage that we are having here is, like, you know, whenever there is an object got changed, we just need, for example, say the username got changed from username to login name. You need not to update, though you have used the same object in multiple places. You just need to update in a single file, whatever the, like, you know, because this is a login page, you just directly go to this login page and you just need to update in a single place. All right, and you need not to update in a multiple places. Once you update in this single file, and you can run all the test suite at a time, which might be having a 50 test cases or 100 test scripts, everything will be executed, and you need not to update in a multiple places. Okay, just let me execute this and see whether this will works out or not. All right, so let me execute this and show application. As you can see, Chrome instance got started. We navigated to new tools and entering username, password, and clicked on sign in button. That's it. That is how we will use page objects. All right. There are a couple of things that we need to consider, like, you know, if you have people who are having an idea about QTP, then you might be heard about a object repository called shared object repository, right? So rather than updating any for example, if an object existing in multiple actions, if any object got changed, we need to update in multiple actions. But if you use shared object repository, you need to update in a single place, right? So that is the same. We will be getting all the advantages of whatever shared object repository here. All right, all your pages, as you can see, this, because this whatever the objects were which are there in this login page, we can keep it in this page, and after that we can go to find a, okay, here this is a find a flight page where you can create a separate class for all the objects which are existing in here. All right, whenever you want, you can just include, like, call that method which is existing in that class. All right, so this is all about page object model, and we will see couple of guidelines that we need to follow in order to work with this page object model. So basically, as you can see, each of these methods represents one of the object. For example, there might be a couple of this is a common operation, right? Basically what I'm trying to say here is this object, for example, say I want to write a method, okay, public static void, say login, okay, basically which might accept a couple of things like web driver, comma, string str username, comma, string str password. Okay, with this page object model, what we can do is, these methods does not represent only just for object identification. You can write the methods which are your common routines. For example, as I told earlier, right, because this is a login page, this login is the common operation for any of the test script that you automated. So we can keep those kind of methods also in this class itself. Okay, so the same operations we will be doing here, saying what I can do here is, so this is the login page with whatever the driver I will get, I will pass it here, and then dot send keys of whatever the username that I passed from the main test scripts. All right, so once that is done, in a similar way, I want to enter password. What I will do here is, once that is done, driver dot send keys, and I'll be passing whatever the value that I'm using for this method. And once done, I need to click on sign in button. So off driver and dot click. Okay, now directly you can invoke this method here. You need not to enter all these things, so just let me show you. What I can do here is, you can directly invoke this method. Dot, this is the login. What I am doing here is, I am passing this and the username and password. with the name, and the password is blah blah blah. Okay, so once you just pass, see, this is just I'm invoking the method which, for example, say this is the common operation, right? So whatever the common operation I have specified in my class, and I'm just invoking it. Okay, let's see whether which executes fine or not. I see some error coming here. Okay, that's fine now. So after that, driver dot quit. Okay, let me execute and show you what exactly is happening here. Manage Java application. As you can see, Chrome instance started, which enters username, password, and click on sign on. Okay, and this is so common repetitive operations that we perform on that page. We can also include those methods. The advantage of having these kind of methods is, if any any step got changed, you can update in a single place rather than updating in a multiple places, which increases the code maintainability. All right, the general guideline that we need to follow in order to use page object model is, you should not include any of the verification in these classes, because this class completely represents to the common objects and methods used on that page. All verifications and everything that you need to keep in your actual test case. All right, so keep that in mind, keep that in your mind when you are working with this page object. So all these page objects can be included in this separate package. Don't club all these test cases as well as object identification into a single package. Rather, all page objects keep in a separate package or a folder. Test cases you can keep it in a separate folder. All right, so by that way, if you follow this page object model, which increases the code reusability as well as maintainability. All right, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to get updated contents related to Selenium WebDriver. Please click the like button at the bottom of this video, and thanks for watching this video. Thanks for your time.